What's up, bros? It's me, the professor. We're live in action. We're going to talk about a couple of things, but I did want to show you what I'm doing. You guys know we had a secondary little vehicle that we use for the kids, and it's a reverse tricycle. It's oh man, we spilled resin everywhere. Sure did. That's not good. Resin's transparent, so if it's sticky and you got stuff in it, it's going to stay sticky. It's like honey. It gets all over your hands and shit. So, anybody want to take a shot at what I'm about to say? Because I have the solution, and I have the reason why the country's being burned down right now, and behind every crime behind every fortune there's a crime, and what's been found out in the deepest darkest parts of the entertainment industry, the deepest darkest parts of the government and our archaeological history is all being exposed now. So now there's this backpedaling to cover up what the fuckery they've done. So let's just say, for example, there's a pimp in your neighborhood and he happens to be a loan shark, and the pimp is known for pimp slapping motherfuckers for not paying. So basically, I want you guys to imagine little hat people. Not getting anything against them whatsoever, none at all. To say little hat people, and this person has a problem with little hat people, and in the neighborhood because they take and take money from other people at excessive interest rates. Okay, so as you guys saw the thumbprint, you guys saw the I can't even talk today. Jesus Christ. You guys saw the thumbnail. Okay, you saw the thumbnail of Jesus in the story that you know of him turning over tables in the temple and turning it into like a flea market, or in Mexico he said a tianguis. And so what's happening there is he is pissed off because Jesus says that my house is to be a house of prayer, and you have turned it into a den of thieves. That's some pretty harsh words, and he turned the tables over because he wanted to open a can of whoop ass. And you guys understand that there is a level of righteous anger that many of you have, that you don't know how to express properly, and you probably feel like that you're being fucked over by everyone and everything right now, because this world is ruled by the devil. Okay, the devil has successfully manipulated all of us into doing everything wrong to each other as opposed to helping each other, which is why it's hard to get anybody to just to help anybody else out of the kindness of their heart, which is why people are very suspicious when I invite, I have these retreats, and they're not for tons and tons and tons of guys. That if you had a group of 8 guys, they're completely anonymous and they want to come down here and just talk about the relationship shit and then find a solution to it, maybe by moving away forever. You know, guys do this stuff. They come down here and they enjoy just being away from their environment for a week or two or a month sometimes. One guy never went back, and he moved to Guadalajara, and he met a girl there. Boy, she was fine as hell. By the way, Guadalajara girls are beautiful, but it's the risk you take if you want to live in Guadalajara. Some people are like, I never had a problem with Guadalajara. As to where I see the dirty side of Guadalajara, you guys are all tourists. I see the stuff that goes on that you all don't hear about on the news. So, but that's the life of volunteer firefighter. So far, so good. What do you say about that? See, we're getting. What I'm doing is I'm putting some chrome on this very stylistic. Um, Tail light. See that? It's a tail light. And the chrome is telling me what to do right now. The chrome's not the chrome. That, by the way, this is just silver leaf that you buy in sheets. Once you got it onto whatever you want it stuck to, you let it dry, and then you spray it with clear, transparent, and then it's stuck like Chuck. It's there like paint. Now it'll go on super shiny. It may stay super shiny if you let it. This is going on the back of a bicycle, on the back of a like a miniature. We're just doing a very miniature little fire truck with a with a steering wheel and a windshield and a horn and stuff. And these are going to go on the back. It's going to be like our brake lights. You guys like that? I think that's pretty cool. If you were a kid, you'd probably want that. That's the one thing about being in Mexico is that you can afford to live on a budget like, $2,000 a month and not really, hyper engage with a lot of activities. So you got to kind of like do your own shit and find stuff to do. Because look, I laugh at people that assume that all of us passport bros are up to no good all the time, because it's some people are just bad people and they know those bad people are coming down here doing bad stuff. And the story behind when Jesus went into the temple and he said, "My house is to be a house of prayer, and you have made it into a den of thieves." And they were talking about the money changers charging excessive interest on money that they would lend out to people. So obviously, being in the position that the Lord Jesus is, because he is the Son of the Lord, a Son of God, and he is transmitting the message to the people, the Pharisees and the Sadducees and all the people in Jerusalem, that not only have they abandoned their traditions and abandoned what was real and why Abraham had sent them and given them these promises and so on, is because they screwed up so bad, you guys. Every single time they had a chance to redeem themselves, the Hebrews would always find some way of fucking it up again. And in this event, I think that their level of revenge on whomever it is that they have a desire to have revenge upon, because literally I've known this all my life, is they have controlled the world, having just the verse that those who bless Israel I will bless, and those that curse Israel I will curse. However, what happens if that's not Israel? What is that? What is that? The Israel that promised Abraham that the Israel will be possessed by the line of Judah, the house of Judah. Something happened along the way, guys, and the rebuilding of the temple has been awaited since the third. I think it was the third time. This would be the third temple build, and that will fulfill the prophecy, and the so-called Messiah will return, will come, because the Jews don't believe Jesus was the Messiah. So they're calling in all of their money. They're calling in all their money. All these people like Diddy and all them, they have never ever been rich. Not one person that is rich in the eyes of the public are not rich at all. The rich are people like Jeffrey Epstein, who are worth not millions, not billions, but trillions of dollars. And they hold the cards, and they are the watchmen. There, I said it. They are the watchmen. They give out loans to people in an effort that while they're doing their job being famous, is that they will promote Satanism, destruction of Western, because this is all a vengeance ploy. Because guess who is not paying back the national debt? If you can't pay back the national debt when the devil comes to collect, what are you supposed to do? You give over your people who you gave as collateral when you signed all of our birth certificates. They signed us all away, guys. Take a look at that. It's a little shiny, but I don't know if you can see it. A little shiny, chromed out, 1100. So all I got to do is just go around, take off the excess glue. Sorry, not excess glue, but excess flake. Now, I told you guys that nothing that I make is congruent. Nothing is put together so that it looks new or it looks amazing, like something off the shelf. Because I 3D printed this. Okay, I 3D printed that. Now you can see I'm painting. Okay, the actual light that's here is an actual light. That thing on the front right here, this little star for it looking thing. Somebody's gonna make me go outside and open a can of whoop ass. And all I'm doing is just taking that off right there. No, I don't have any problem with anybody of any groups. I'm just telling you guys that there's some evil people in this world, and I'm asking the questions. Like, is it time for the Rockefellers to call in all of their debts from all of these countries? Is that why everybody's killing themselves? Is that why this year, let's see, who died? Oppenheimer. Okay, he was getting he's got his called in. His cards were all called in. Who else? The 4 billionaires on the submarine. Okay, all their cards are being called in, you guys. Epstein was just the tip of the iceberg. Just that much was showing. The rest of it down below is the reason why we're at war with other people and why we finance the money. And that's why this is a cash grab for these politicians to steal all the money and resources they can and then collapse the dollar and then go hide in their fucking bunkers and let us go and beat the fuck out of each other while they poison the fucking world from a distance. They don't have to use nuclear shit. I told you guys from the beginning in 1992, I predicted that they would collapse the world economy using poison on the water. I didn't know what kind of fentanyl didn't exist back then, but I saw it in my mind's eye. I saw it in my mind's eye that there was a person or a group of persons that called themselves the New World Order that decided they wanted to go around New York City and spray pneumonia. Excuse me, not pneumonia. I'm just retarded. I can't even, it's having a hard time talking today. But anyway, they went around New York City, did a test run to see if they could give people influenza. So they went around spraying like buffets and like door handles and stuff like that with influenza. And they studied the results. And they caught the people doing it. And it turned out that it was all part of a CIA thing. The second thing was that I had predicted that mosquitoes would be the transmitter of whatever kind of XYZ disease. Now, I didn't see what kind of disease this was. All I saw was there were crates of green mosquitoes being dropped by planes down into the United States. And these green mosquitoes were really small. They were so small that you could barely see them. They looked like gnats, but they were bright green, almost looked like emeralds. Now, in my mind's eye, as a young jitterbug, before drones had come out, you and I would think, oh, it looks like a mosquito, because that's what our brain in 1994, thinks of what a micro drone might look like would be a mosquito, because it sounds like a little bitty, mosquito. But I had predicted there was a correlation between the atheist movement and feminism. Now, I couldn't make the correlation because both of them are basically rebellious natures, and one just happens to be focused towards women, and the others happens to be focused towards us metalheads from the fucking 80s. So if you like rock and roll and you put your fingers up the devil symbol, we were all programmed to worship the devil. And now I have seen Baal in a photo right next to me. You guys saw that picture of me when I was out here and there was a fire down the street and I just happened to be there and someone took a picture of me. They're like, local hero puts out fire. And in the fire, in that photo, was a demon. It was a bull that had no horns on its head, but had a nose ring. And there were 4 or 5 demons around this fire, inside the fire, guys. And I'm never one of these guys that's going to be like, oh, yeah, this is real and all this shit. No way. Okay, I don't know what the hell it was. It's just a picture. I could be, maybe my eyes are playing tricks on me, but when other people say, hey, there's this picture of you going around that has a demon in the fire, what's up with that? And I didn't know that because it was like Mother's Day. And there was a thing going on at the park, and there was a fire right outside close to some LP gas. So I just went over there with a shovel and was just, putting out just a small brush fire, but it got big really fast, like a fucking volcano jumping out of the ground. So, and not to spook you guys. I mean, like I said, I never, ever, ever would have dreamed that I would actually be able to see something supernatural in person. Because you got to realize something. I grew up in a very, very strong. Hey, what are you talking about? Come here. Get over here. This dog is so good. Isn't that right, Peaches? You're a good dog, right? Oh, another couple of things that came in 2024 as far as a vision, and that was mass migration to Mexico for Americans. And not because everybody wants to go on fucking vacation. I saw the border closed. And I saw the people trapped inside, like just like people trying to get in. I saw people trying to get out. And it was realistic to me because I saw the border guards. The border guards know me because I pass through. Whenever there's something going on, I need to know. All I do is talk to the border guards because they're pretty smart. Guys, do not be rude to the border guards at any of these checkpoints, please. All right, they have a hard enough time with this crap is going on. They don't need your criticism right now. And I know it sounds like, oh, it's their fault. Listen, I fought in a war that was illegal to fight for gold, and that was oil barons. We were all fooled into it. We were forced to do illegal orders, to take illegal orders, whatever. That doesn't stop the fact that these are people. When you go to the border, you act like a shit ass, and you make it that much harder for us to go through the fucking border. Those people are rent-a-cops that have federal badges, okay? They're there to make sure that whatever is supposed to happen is supposed to happen, and obviously that system is not it's not squared away yet. I'm being nice, you guys, so don't criticize my words. I'm being nice, And like I said, they're calling in all of their debts. All the billionaires are getting their debts called in. That's why they're shorting their own stocks. Why do you think Bud Light went the way it did? Think about this, you guys. Why do you think Bud Light decided to put what would be the most unacceptable spokesperson in the world to represent a beer that is normally drank by middle-class white trash Americans watching football and shit? Bud Light. Why do you think they did that? Because here's how it works, guys. When you know the world is going to fucking end and you got a date, you know that date is coming up, you can do what's called a short sale. Meaning, if you know that your predicted stock is going to do something stupid in the news, like Coke did when they did New Coke, they knew that if New Coke flopped, that the value of the stock was going to go down. So they bet against the stock going down. They bet against it going up. And what they do is they make the difference on that. That's how they make so much money when the stock goes down and not goes up, which is why I was telling you guys, short the stocks for Planet Fitness, short the stocks for Bud Light, any of these woke companies, just like Target, when they did that shit, short the fuck out of it. Now it's too late. And if you did that, you were a millionaire now, and you'd be down here in Mexico living in the castle next to me. But like I said, if you short the stock, you're betting that the value of the stock is going to go down. So when Bud Light decided in its infinite wisdom to put Dylan Mulvaney as their spokesperson and then have all this whatever transmission stuff going on in Target and all this woke stuff, it's because they anticipated the backlash of the public being horrible towards them. So what they do is, as an insider trading move, they talk to their family member and they say, I'm giving you $1 million to short the stock because we're anticipating the value of it dropping down 75%, making all of us rich on the way out. Then we were forced to resign. Then they got to give us a pension. They got to give us a going away bonus. So you see, it's all an orchestrated plot. That is why they put idiots in charge of companies to be talking heads in front of the media. They know that those people are nothing to them. I mean, I'm going to say, let's just call a spade. Bill Gates, for example, might be in charge of Microsoft, which on paper is his invention, his baby. He came up with it, blah, blah, blah. He made billions of dollars. And then one day I saw a person throw a pie in his face and said, you all killers, and I never understood why. And so what I discovered is that the Bayer Corporation, which, by the way, I was very good friends with the president of the Bayer Corporation. I used to go visit him about once a week, and his wife. She had Alzheimer's disease, and he passed away of cancer. But I would go and I would visit the president of the Bayer Corporation in Palm Beach Island. I used to go there once a week. I had a friend that used to be his wife's hairdresser. And when he was in the AA program I was in, he didn't have a driver's license. And I was a jailbird doing community service. And so he asked me to come along and take him to this big old fancy mansion in Palm Beach. So you guys know this used to be the McDonald's mansion when the secretary of the McDonald's Corporation was paid in stock. And when she retired, she built this fancy mansion. Actually, you know what it was? It was the architect who designed the arches for McDonald's who built their mansion. And so I went to their house. They had like these 2 thrones made out of fucking seashells as you came in the door. And there was a rumor that they had drones that looked like birds flying around their house on the beach, because it was on the beach in Palm Beach. And so their security never had to go outside because they always had birds as their security cameras. So they had drones long before there were drones. I'm going to give you guys a timeline. This was like 2002, 2003. I got sober on the 19th of March of 2002. And I worked for this millionaire guy as a bodyguard in Palm Beach. And so this other guy came along. And so when millionaires get together, it's not an issue of having transportation. That's ridiculous. That's petty. All that is the Florida court systems trying to fuck with people who have money and say, well, guess what? You get to be just like everybody else and ride a bicycle. They're like, no, we don't, because I have a waiver and I'm going to have all this push. So they have a different law system than we do. So on the larger scale, when it comes to corruption, there really is nothing that you and I as citizens can ever do. And so why is it that corruption is continuous? Well, because corruption works. And it works in certain countries and it doesn't work in others. Some countries, it needs to be secretive. Like the United States, if it's corrupt, You draw your own conclusion there. If it's corrupt, it's going to be in secret. If Mexico is corrupt, it's going to be in public because it's part of Latin American culture for time to time to have really, really corrupt leaders that use the government as their personal wallet. They use the military as their personal security force and their social media promoters and so on and so forth, and their media teams. So there's a lot of fuckery going on that you and I, if you knew the real game, the real score that was going down before us, the whole world would be in absolute pandemonium. And see, I'm talking about it because none of you guys believe me. And I'm okay with that. You don't have to believe me. I have never said, see, I've told you so many fucking times since I turned 50 fucking years old. Like, I've never stopped and said, see, I told you that was going to happen. See, I told you that happened. See, I told you that happened, to the point where people know that if something fucked up happened, they know that I knew about it in advance. And the only reason why I knew that in advance is because I can never predict anything good. Nothing that is positive for the world ever comes out of my mouth. It has never been anything that says, oh, guess what? Jesus comes back. I'm hoping for the best, that he comes back in my lifetime, because I want to see that motherfucker's sword come out of his mouth and fuck shit up. Because I was fucked over for 18 fucking years by a corrupt system, the court system of the state of fucking Florida, for child support. And they took away my parental rights without reason. Now, I might have been an alcoholic back then, but I was not an active alcoholic when I went to court the first time. In fact, I've been sober several years by then. And which leads me to my next thing is if you break your arm or something like that, people kind of feel bad for you and want to sign your cast or whatever. But when people say you're crazy, or people say that you're an alcoholic, or you really got a problem with the ladies or whatever, that image of you will be fixed in their mind about you for the rest of your life. And how you respond to people who treat you like the way you used to be 20, 10, 20, maybe even 5 years ago, is really how they're going to perceive you. Because, even, I have family members that would see like videos of me, working with kids and say, oh, that's fucking cute. Whatever, working on just a bunch of fucking kids. Like, what? They don't see that, I do adult classes here. We do classes online at 3 a.m. in Germany. They don't realize that we write books. They don't realize that we do swimming courses for fucking adults. Yesterday, we did the drive for fucking rabies, and we injected like 300 dogs with the vaccines for dogs. See, they don't see none of that shit. They'll pick and choose what they see out of your life, and they'll say, oh, that's the present you. You see what I'm saying? You're the present you that they can look at and compare their insides to your outsides. They compare the way they look on the outside, the inside of themselves, which is shit, compare the inside to the outside of you, which is good. And then they have a reason to criticize you and not support you. Because as you get bigger and better and good at what you do, the better that the Republic is going to receive you. And there's nothing that anybody can say about you ever again they can never say anything about me, ever. Because I don't live in that world. I'm not about the life I lived before. Now, I might be rough and rash and all this shit, and I still, I still have a very good hobby. I do fight for fun. And I'm not talking about going around picking fights or anything like that, but dude, don't mind, and I have no problem airing a motherfucker out in a second. But not because I'm a badass like that, but where I live is a place called Mexico. And here in Mexico, people are still men, and they solve their differences with their fists, not with guns. So if you don't want to be disrespected in Mexico, occasionally you're going to have to fucking lay an ass whooping down on somebody. And especially, you can only do it if you're a permanent resident. If you come down here as a tourist and they just want to smart off to you, it's just button pushing. They're doing it to provoke you to get into a fight so that they can call cops. They'll never get put in jail. They'll never get put in jail. You will. And just the fact that you're a gringo or you're a foreigner is like a prize. You know what I mean? Like something out of Reno 911. Like, let's see if we can get a fucking dozen gringos today to give us 500 pesos each. And that's what goes on all day long, every day. So unless you have the police in your pocket, or you carry so much fucking value, or you have so much status in where you are that the cops are not going to fuck with you, then you need to understand something, that you could be a victim of anything. So knowing this information, I have hedged my bets by placing myself strategically within a group of men that are more powerful than even the president of the municipality. And they're not involved with the government. And they're not involved with the fucking cartel. But their influence as far as their wealth is so considerable that one fucking phone call from any one of these gentlemen to anyone in the fucking government in Mexico would have me out of a bad situation and into a better situation, and maybe even to the embassy and a free ride in a fucking helicopter. So I take life that fucking seriously that I've had to get fucked over so many times by people here in Mexico to have a fucking enough to say, you know what? I saw the fuckery was happening in the United States. I don't want none of that shit. I have no part of it. And I'm not going to turn around and go move to Mexico and the same fucking shit happened to me. Motherfuckers, I had to pay 18 years of child support for a kid I never even fucking saw. And then I try and track him down literally from the day that he is born to find out where he is, what's his name, where's he at, because his mother alienated me. She's like, you're going to have him fucking kill you? You'll never see your kid? You're going to pay me money for 18 years? Because it was a setup. She knew that the relationship that I had built with her was no good. It was all based on lies. I was an alcoholic, and you know what I mean? I was just a piece of shit dude. And for her to expect anything different from a fucking white thug of all things, a white thug, who knew? Professor, you thug? Not really, but definitely been playing one on this game for a few years. Because that is the only thing that they respond to besides shame and shaming tactics. Mexicans only respond to like people calling them out in public. I'm like, fuck yeah, call me out in public. I'm all right with that. They did. So they took a picture of my car, which by the way is a patrol car for the Fire Science Academy for Firefighters Without Borders. Beautiful Audi A6. And all of a sudden I'm surrounded, completely fucking surrounded by 14 patrol cars and the commander of the police want to know who the fuck I am. What are you doing here? Why do you have Mexico State Police, not state police, but why do you have Mexico State plates that are not they're not government? It says, I'm not part of the government. I'm not part of any government. I don't want to be part of any government. But you come, no, you don't understand. See, under maritime law, Section 8748-6, Section 323 on the fourth paragraph, it says that civil protection officers have a right worldwide and access to all of the video cameras in said municipalities on a federal level. So if you are the grand marshal, or you're the state marshal, or whatever, if you fall under anything that has to do with civil protection, international or national, in any country, in any capacity, meaning you're part of disaster preparedness teams or whatever, no matter what country you go to, you have the authority and the rights to have access to all of the fucking video cameras in said municipality, because you need to be able to access cameras so you can see earthquake damage or flood damage or tsunami damage. So you can understand that cops can't locally, solely have access to the fucking shit to prevent people from speeding. See what I'm saying? A rescue worker has the access to things like the access to the video cameras that you think the cops are staring at all day. They're not. Now, unless a car gets stolen or something like that and it's reported, all the cameras go to zoom in on the tags on these cars. So if your Mercedes, like mine, got stolen, like if shit gets stolen, here's what ends up happening is that the cops are not going to look for it, okay? And you pay them money. That's what you got to do. You don't get anything for free down here. You don't get service for free. You got to pay money. Isn't that fucked up? I think it's fucked up. You got to pay money to have the cops show up. Then you got to pay the state attorney to do their fucking job. Yeah, I'm going through that. But at least, you guys saw that last video. I have a picture of the guy that allegedly stole a check from me, because it all has to be signed for, and the only guy that has access to the mail is the fucking mail carrier. And since he knew the first time that I had something delivered from the States, he took it upon himself to steal said next payment and third. But what was fucked up is that I had already got my direct deposit reinstated to a new bank. And so what happened was the Treasury accidentally sent 2 additional checks, and en route they got stolen. And so I got this letter in the mail saying I had cashed fucking Treasury checks. And I was like, whoa, these are the ones that were reported stolen. And I even had to do a stolen identity report and nightmare. And then the state attorney wants money to do their fucking job here. So I got to go play fucking detective and say, can you do me a favor? Can you look up the cameras on this certain date so I could see, it says on this date here that this check was cashed, but I never went to the United States at all, so that rules me out. But who in the fuck did it, and how are they able to cash a check that has my name on it? Because when I got a copy of the check, it had somebody else's name and my name on it. So they basically forged my name, and then somebody somewhere deposited it into an account at my bank. So I have my suspicions on who it was, because there's only a few people I know that are smart enough to pull off something like that. And if there was a vengeance thing against me, I don't understand that, because I haven't had any enemies for a very long time. So I'm under the assumption that the mailman sees, the academy here, which, I'm just a resident. You know what I'm saying? It's not like I'm the owner, but they see gringos coming and going. And if they can steal anything from it that'll improve their life, they'll steal it from me in a second. So the predictions that I can do sometimes aren't based on what I know about me or the world. Sometimes these things come to me intuitive flashes at 4:30 in the morning when I'm reading or something like that. Typically, I like to do podcasts and record stuff and write notes and do my lectures at 4:30 in the morning, because from 3 a.m. to 4 a.m., we occasionally do fire science classes online. So I'm up outside, looking off the fucking balcony window at the junkies and drug addicts and the homeless people walking back and forth. And, I'm just a weirdo. I'm just some foreign asshole. And so, they'll either say hi, or they like look up at me and you don't like me because I'm poor, because they all feel judged. That's how a lot of Black people feel when they come to Mexico. They're always looking for something to be mad about, or someone looking at them in a racist way. And after you've been here for a week, you realize how dumb that sounds after you've said it. And then they go like, oh man, I thought people were mean down here, and then they're not. And then I thought it was like they're all cholos, and they're not. And then people from Germany, they're the worst, because they assume that everybody wears mariachi clothes and that everything is a desert. They don't know that it's like gonna be 30 degrees tonight. So there are all these things that we have, the perceptions of the outside world. All of it is a setup. The only reason why other human beings would not be interested in helping other human beings to succeed, to progress, and to survive is because we've been programmed not to like each other. And some groups are easier than others. Like women, for example, they're easy to flip a switch and then have them hate each other secretly. And then they voice it against men, because men can't physically fight back against women. Follow? So now we're going to take this another step further and say that Israel is calling in all of its debts because they know that the world is ending. They may be the janitors of anarchy. If the world, they provoked the war, they financed the war, decided to, these people are not going to pay us back, so we're just going to exterminate everybody. And so, oh, by the way, these are not theories of mine. I don't think of these things. I have no thing against Jews or the Muslims. It doesn't bother me at all what they do. In fact, I don't live in Israel. I don't live in anywhere else. I already did my time in service. I was lied to back then. I don't give a fuck now. What do y'all think of that? Check it out. Now, I stole this original design before I 3D printed this from a 1964 Ford Galaxy because this particular style I thought was pretty cool. So I went on the internet and I looked up the style of the 1960s for taillights, and I thought, ooh, that would be kind of cool for the chicken bus. The only problem is that I'm a minimalist when it comes to lights. And I need to have the smallest lights possible on any of my vehicles. Emergency vehicles, I don't like these big fat, lights that are on top. I like the ones that are just they're thin and wafy, and they're easy to change out if necessary. All right, so I did that one. I'm going to take out all this silver leaf, and since I just did a resin job on this table, all that silver leaf will go right into that resin. Let me just stand up for a second because I got all over my pants. All this gold and silver flake will go right on my table. It's my work table. It's for the kids. And it'll stick to the resin. And when it dries, it'll be like chrome flake. It'll be chrome flaked all over the table, which, by the way, I have tons of gold. You see that? That's gold flake. That's 22 karat gold flake right there on that table. See that? 22, that's 24. That's silver. That's actually sterling. So you can see that's, you know what I mean? No, I'm fucking with you. All this stuff is like $15 for 100 sheets of this shit. It's like stuff they put on cakes. But if you seal it into your project with a little bit of clear transparent, it'll stick permanently. So all you need is one of these. And all you need are sheets of these, which, these look like what they do. Sheets of silver. And then you take your project, whatever the hell it is, like this. And then you take your paintbrush, and this takes a special kind of glue. So what I do is I bend the rules, and I just go get carpenter's glue and use that instead. Because carpenter's glue is strong, it dries fast and dries clear. And all I needed to do is stick this fucking aluminum foil shit to these projects. Once it's dry, it's on there for good. Because, once it's painted over with clear stuff, you're gold. Or in this case, silver. So here we go. I have this little bitty paintbrush, and I have just a little tablespoon or so of glue. So I'm going to paint my ring first, and I'm just going to let it dry. And then like I said, anything that you put glue to and anything you do, it's going to stick just to that. The aluminum does not stick to other stuff that doesn't have sticky stuff on it. So don't worry about, wasting it. Because I said, this is the stuff that goes on like cakes. Like, ooh, fancy gold steak, gold. Yeah, whatever. All it is this edible, made out of cornstarch, chromide, whatever the fuck chemical they use to make this shit. And all it is this art paper. And people are going fucking crazy at like Ruth's Chris or some shit. Ooh, I want the gold. I want the gold steak. You dumbass. That stuff's made for cake. And they're putting on steaks and making it look more expensive. And then they're charging like $300. Fuck you. Vote with your feet. These people think we're stupid. So they do stuff like this and they act like they're better than us. You crazy? Now the game is up. Now the fucking everyone is going down. I already went down. I went down in 2010. They decided we can't have this fucking boy over here talking about men leaving the United States and getting wives and getting a different life and having a better, power of their dollar. And they're like, hey, look at this guy. I look these guys up, they're all cops. They're like, check this guy out down in Colombia, Ben, drug DEA task force. I'm like, what the fuck are these people looking at me for? Like I'm into drugs or some shit. Can a guy come to fucking Mexico and just say, oh, I just want to go down there because it's cheaper to live and the women are fucking nicer? No, we got to have a whole full-fledged fucking team of assholes on a federal level that nobody has to do because some guy sees some young guy on YouTube. And so for the next fucking year, I got people looking in my computer, fucking with my phone. By the way, I have my Fourth Amendment rights, removed completely, no permissions whatsoever from anybody to come after me, a goddamn fucking low guy, YouTube guy, low level YouTube guy. Why? Why would they want a fucking low level YouTube? Why? Because I said some key words that a man can get in a fucking plane with his passport and go have a better life away from these ratchets. And at the time, it was like Costa Rica was like the things. It was like I had observed one of my friend's dads move to Costa Rica successfully, and he never came back and died in Costa Rica. A very happy man, I'm pretty sure, at the time. He retired from the post office. So now I have it all glued up. See that? Now it's all glued up. So I'm going to let that do its thing, and I'm going to go around the bottom ring like that. You just got to put on a really pasty, not super thick, but thick enough. Paste it, wipe it on. Wipe it on, let it dry a little bit because you want it to be tacky. Then you just take your silver leaf, you go around, paint it on. That's all you're going to do. You're just going to paint over whatever color you want to be silver with your glue. And then you let it be a little bit tacky. And then you slap your sheets on, tear them off, let them dry. Then take your other brush, which, by the way, you should be using a makeup brush. I'm using like this little trim brush because it's brand new and it's got a natural fiber brush. So literally, I'm almost done with this whole piece in less than a minute. So it's that easy. But this is naturally going to be something that it's going to be like a learning curve because you need to know when to hold them and when to fold them and when to walk away and when to run. Run it again, run it again. And sometimes you may have to fucking use your glue several times. Sometimes you may have to put more and more and more sheets on that you didn't expect to do. Sometimes it's going to tear off. But like I said, just play with it. Do your best. Try your best. Don't let it fall on your face. Stick them on there. Do them on there one at a time like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Rip them off. Keep moving your sheet down on your piece. And just keep touching your project until it's all foiled in. Take all your excess off ahead of time so you don't fuck up anything and something that sticks to something you don't want it to. So you make sure your outside ring's okay. And you're just going to keep throwing these on like that. There you go. Let it dry. Oh, almost fucked up. Gotta do my centering. I'm gonna tell you guys right now, you guys stop drinking water. Stop drinking water. Start doing something to your fucking food to keep you from being fucking poisoned. Now I have all this excess silver. What am I gonna do with it? Let your glue dry up. Let it all fall to the floor if you need to. Put it on your table. Get rid of your trash. Get all your trash. All these sheets that are like half, fuck them. Let all that resin stick, because once it's over, that's the time you fall in love again. Take your resin, pop your tops off, get all your paper and your garbage out of here. Get your paper, get your brush, and you're just going to touch it where you want it. This is stuck. Okay. I'm not going to touch the stuff that's not been on there very long. Like around the spikes, I put more around the spikes. See that? Any more predictions? Changing our cars to golf carts, then building super highways that go like 300 miles an hour. Sabotage pretty much is on the menu. Everybody is doing something for somebody and in an effort to save themselves. Because they've been offered something that said, hey, here's the deal. Gonna scare the fuck out of you, and so you decide to work for us, or be with us, or whatever with us, or die like the rest. Fortunately, that's gonna be what it's gonna be, guys. And I say, be busy with your own shit activities. Good activities, not shit activities, but be busy with your own activities. All right, be about that life that this life is about, because we don't even know what the fuck this life even is. And use your brain. Okay, you know these people don't have your best interest at heart, so anything they offer you is going to be a fucking lie anyway. And so if they approach you, know that they're full of shit, and that any amount of money that you're offered isn't going to be worth fucking bazillionth of what they're going to make from you and your influence. Why should I? I'm gonna go work for some people that fucking, shot and killed the president of the United States? Go work for them? Is that what you're gonna do? You're working for a fucking guy that killed Kennedy? Because, oh no, that was a different generation. Yeah, well, this one might be worse. You know? Kind of in a way, in a happy kind of way, when I got out of the military and I said, ooh, I want to go work for the State Department. I heard it takes a year to apply for it. Then that letter came in the mail and says, we don't want your ass. We don't want no broken toys, you guys. And I was like, why? What? So yeah, there's that. And you know what? I'm kind of glad. It's okay. I mean, those guys, some of those guys that de-roast went back to the States and, we're doing civilian tours in Iraq or security teams in Afghanistan and making that big bank, $30,000 money. And meanwhile, the rest of us sitting in fucking men's halfway houses, trying to recover from alcoholism and just fuckery in general, from not being able to see a doctor at the VA or being overwhelmed now with fucking migrants. So I'm pretty sad about that, but nothing I can do about it. I can though, and I have invited plenty of veterans to come down here to Mexico to come start their life over. Some of them do, and some of them just can't get their head around, being somewhere else for the rest of their life. So they come down for a while and then they go away. And sometimes they come back and sometimes they, come down with a family or something like that. And, I'm still here. I'm still doing this. And that's amazing because who knew? You know what I mean? I'm going from the Desert Warrior Awards and shit like that to fucking working with kids, teenagers, doing jujitsu So I'm happy about that. I never expected that to be that good. So if you enjoyed that, Scream, I hope that you understand that a lot of this stuff is speculative, may or may not happen, and maybe I'm brain damaged and you're just listening to some autistic retard talk about predictions of 2024. Anyway, don't wear hats. Later.